Singapore has one of the best education systems in the world, but what about places with fewer resources? Earlier, I spoke to Jo Bourne, Chief of Education at Unicef, and we discussed efforts to improve global education, starting with some of the toughest locations.
Certainly. I mean, currently there are about 61 million children who don't access primary school at all. And the 8 countries you refer to account for about half of those children. So let me see if I can get them right. It's Yemen, DRC, South Sudan, Nigeria, Bangladesh, India, see if I missed a couple, Ethiopia and Haiti. And that's obviously not all the countries that have large numbers of children out of school, but it counts for a very big number.
Out of that number, an overwhelming majority of them are female.
Yes.
Why is that? And do you ever see that trend reversing? What will it take to reverse that number and maybe make it a little more, it's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. Let's just take 2 of those countries. So Nigeria, if you look at the poorest female children in Nigeria, aged between 7 and 16, only 70% of them have ever been to school. And then in comparison, you look at Bangladesh. Again, look at the poor female people in Bangladesh, and that's 11% of them who have never been to school. Now that's a massive difference. So that gives us the opportunity to ask, why? And I think it's probably 3 things. Political will is clearly very important. Also, what's happening at the level of the community, how supportive are the community of girls' education, maybe for religious or cultural reasons. The community is not supportive, but it's also financial. Sending girls to school is often seen as a lost cost to families, and it's difficult to do that, difficult for families to make those choices. But that means, of course, that we can do something about it. We can work with communities, and we can give girls incentives, financial incentives, to help them and their families make that choice. So, for example, in Nigeria, Unicef is working with community leaders to identify young women who can be trained to become teachers. They get trained, they come back, they work in their communities, and they then act as role models for other girls who are given the signal that it's okay to go to school.
So you're giving out just one solution, but what are your long-term goals? What does UNICEF want to do, not just there, but in other countries?
Well, UNICEF works in education in about 150 countries around the world. So every country has different sets of problems, and the ones we're talking about are perhaps some of the major problems. The things I would like to see UNICEF doing going forward is having a much greater focus on equity in those countries. So how can we reach the most marginalised children? Who are they? Why are they out of school? And what are the best strategies to bring them in? And we know some of the answers to this. The second thing I'd like to see us focusing on is actually making sure the kids are learning something when they get to school. Another really horrible statistic is that there are probably about 250 million children at grade 4 who can't read or write, and these include children who are already in school. Now, if our kids couldn't read or write by grade 4, we'd be worried. And I think the third area, which is quite exciting, is what can we do that's innovative to start reaching these children? What does new technology offer that can really help us get better results?
All right, Jo Bourne, thank you so much for your time and your insight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.